TV. This is Television You Watch with Your Third Eye, and I'm Richard Johnston.
And I'm Mary Phelan, and our program is about raising our consciousness. And tonight we're going to continue the discussion from last week on manipulation. And just as a little recap, last week we talked more extensively about the four major energy manipulations, which are the ah, poor me, the bully, the inquisitor, and the elitist. And there are many other forms, and all of them being ultimately guilt manipulation. And most people start off with the ah, poor me, and it uses guilt to make the other person feel like I can't not give them this, or I will be guilty. And one thing I will preface all this with is when you're guilty, you're not thinking, you're not present. We've talked of that on the show many times. Neville and I both have talked of that. So the four energy thefts, when people don't get the ah, poor me, they move over to the bully, and then into the inquisitor. It's like, well, where did you come from? What did you get? And that kind of thing. And then it moves on to the elitist, where I'm not going to talk to you. And we run through these manipulations because we're not taught we're allowed to love ourselves directly. Yeah. So we love ourselves vicariously through others, which means manipulating the other person by giving to them so that they give back to you. We also introduced a manipulation that I call the doorman manipulation, which is on Seinfeld, where the doorman was manipulating Jerry by doing these subliminal, passive-aggressive maneuvers to make Jerry look like the bad guy. And so how that usually starts is they pretend to be a friend and listen, and then they take what the person has to say, twist it, plant the seed, water the seed, and then become the antidote to that. And people do that a lot. It happens, people taking other people out of a relationship. It happens at work with employees and bosses. Like gradually one employee will just let little things drop about their fellow employee, or their boss will say, I really don't like it when people are late. Oh, okay, that guy doesn't like it when people are late. Ooh, that person's late, and they keep planting the seed, and then they become the good employee that's never late. They make sure they're never late in front of their boss. Well, that is all a manipulation to harm someone else and to take something.
Yeah.
And we talked a lot about the female, or a little bit rather, about the female manipulation of the male, which is often this very technique that I outlined. And often there's sex used to manipulate males. Look around you, look in the media, it's everywhere. But we, right as we were ending, our dear Edith called and asked a wonderful question. What is it with the people that allow themselves to be manipulated? Maybe we could jump right in and continue the discussion.
Well, then the answer to that would be that they're searching for self-esteem because they don't generate it on their own. Their self-esteem is always based on someone else's opinions, and therefore they are easily manipulated. We've said, and it remains true, that planet Earth is a slave planet. It's actually that simple. And I don't have the book with me this evening, but I wrote a story on the very first planet ever to have freed itself. And they had a class system, and they had races, only the class system and the races were the same thing. And so the highest caste were actually gray creatures. And then it went down through the colors, which was interesting. And they did set themselves free. And it's Metaphysical Short Stories is the book. Now the idea that all manipulation is based on our inherent desire to be approved of, which we're kind of born that way, and it's really, really enforced. And it's good that it is, because if we are trained to do things that get us approval, then we can be educated and become aware of a picture. Thank you for showing me all this. The picture of the greater than oneself. The infant, the child, knows only its own world. It doesn't know anything past that. Good enough trauma, and you never get past that. You just kind of have to rely upon the kindness of others to get you out of that idea that the world is not orbiting around you. But okay.
Most people, or some people, outgrow that.
Yeah, I don't know about most.
That's why I amended it to some.
Yeah. So this idea of self-esteem being something that is generated from within. Now, you could appear to have self-esteem and great presence and simply turn out to be a narcissist. It's not the self-esteem is not based on doing good deeds or being aware of the bigger picture or anything that would actually be a real self-esteem. It's just based on generating a louder noise than other people.
Well, yeah, that's a good distinction and clarification to make and reiterate on what you just said. A lot of people think low self-esteem is, oh, Lippy, we're all going to die, I'm no value. And that, oh, yes, I'm confident and, I'm a go-getter and all that is having high self-esteem, but often those really intense personalities have lower self-esteem than the lower, more, downtrodden type of a personality.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Self-esteem is when we live in a world where we're not allowed to love ourselves directly and we have to love ourselves vicariously through other people. What happens is we're set up for manipulation. And as long as we're in that dynamic, we can never truly trust ourselves which means we cannot have any esteem because we betray ourselves at the drop of a flattering note.
Yeah.
And somebody flatters, oh, you're so wonderful, aren't you special, I love the way you do this, look what you've done. It puts people to sleep, which is a big form of manipulation.
Wow. Yes.
And it is hard for people, but I would say it appears hard, for people to know when to accept compliments. A lot of the times I hear people have gotten to the place now, if somebody offers a compliment, if you say, well, thank you, or you roll it off your shoulders or something, they say, receive, learn to receive. There's a lot of bullyishness going on with that. But I tell you, there is a filter that goes up when people are flattering because it's a sales technique, it's a con, it's always a con if people are effusively flattering. And you know when it's not genuine. If it's, oh yeah, I do this for a living. I really do feel it when it's not genuine, but not everybody is focused in this area. If somebody has something to gain from you and they're flattering you, accept the flattery, but don't let it put you to sleep. If flattery is putting you to sleep, you are being manipulated. And that happens a lot when we were talking about the male to female and the female to male manipulation. Mm-hmm. When a female is manipulating a male, often they will use, oh, you are so wonderful, or laugh at every one of their jokes, or something like that. That's a manipulation, even if it doesn't have a sinister motive.
Mm-hmm.
Now the reverse, men with women and manipulation. Men tend, and I'm talking about in the dating world, men tend to manipulate women through elitism, where, oh yeah, I don't want anything to do with you, and not returning calls or waiting weeks to call the woman back, because women get manipulated through their fear of not being good enough and being abandoned. And so when men do that, women start responding and be easily manipulated through the fear of that abandonment and that elitism. Now, is everybody bad that uses manipulations? No. There's a huge percentage where we're not doing it through evil purposes, but we're all taught that in order to survive in the world, we have to manipulate. That we can't just come up and say, hey, I like you, will you go out on a date with me? And say, hey, my feelings are developing. For some reason, we're terrified to say that, so we manipulate and try to make a person jealous to see if they really care about us, or lie and say, something just to see a reaction, or to say I'm pregnant when you're not, things to see what the reaction is. Why not just be real with each other? But we can't get there until we're allowed to be real with ourselves. So this is your permission to be real with yourself.
That's very well put.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and people just really don't comprehend the level at which manipulation takes place on this planet. We are a slave planet. All slavery is based on judgment. All judgment is based on prejudgment. So we all have these little diagrams that we superimpose over everything that happens, and then it lights up and that's evil, or it lights up and that's good. You know, and so we're not doing any real original thinking, and we're not stepping out of the box. And because this happened, you therefore have to do this, or there's something the matter with you. And that's manipulation. And another wonderful form of manipulation, the inquisitor, is that very early on, I wrote Pavlov on the back of the phone.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, which was
Pavlov's phone is what you wrote.
Oh, really? It's been so long I forgot. Pavlov's phone. In other words, if it rings, you have to answer, right? Just like the dog has to salivate if the bell rings.
That was so great.
Trained cats ring the bell, the cat shows up expecting to eat. But nonetheless, you do not have to answer the phone because it rings. You don't have to answer the question because it was asked. And so what do we do? Anti-manipulation, you know, here's the question, and okay, there's the question, and first, why is that your business? Why, you know, why would you be asking me a question like that? Because so many people who are wounded feed on other people's hurt, and they have to extract it from the other person, and it's very annoying because you know, the kind, gentle people get hurt that way, and you are allowed to say that is really not something I'm going to answer, and do not ask me that again. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And it's use of the index finger and the word no.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's another thing. I do scrolls, as many of you know. My magical message cards are based on my 120-something scrolls that I use. But I've also done scrolls with messages from Kuan Yin, from the sun for the solstice. I'll be doing them for the moon, from the Serpent Mound, and from the ocean. I have many decks that I could put them into, but one of the messages, I believe, from my Kuan Yin scrolls is, I don't remember the beginning, but one of the lines is about listening to the wise counsel of both the yes and the no, because that is the gas and the brake. If we only have one, that doesn't seem to get us anywhere. Either we're stopped or we can't stop.
Like that. Just your scroll, I don't want to read them because people can, and besides.
Feel free to. Was that one that was meaningful?
Yeah, I put a number in the wallet that, of your scrolls that I thought was so good. There was a time that was before time where the ocean held all stirrings of life inside her womb of creation. You were a spark of divine inspiration back then, and every step life has taken has led directly to you. Cherish your history. Cherish the road that brought you. So that clears up so much because...
That's one of the messages from the ocean.
Yeah. Because of the amount we were manipulated, you could not remember what that scroll just said and be manipulated. You know, so there are anti-manipulation devices available, and I believe you're thinking of putting that into a published form, your scrolls. It would be very valuable for people to do that.
And the messages from the Serpent Mound and everything.
And all the rest, you have sets of scrolls from various places. It's all just so magnificent. I really
thank you.
Will back you up on that. The manipulation that goes on this planet. If you have ever seen an advertisement in your life, you have been manipulated. You know, Foxworthy or whatever his name is, you may be a redneck. If you've seen an advertisement, you've been manipulated.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, also a big manipulation is fear, as we saw in the year 2001. I'm not saying everybody, and there are good people that are genuine, a lot of good people. I mean, everybody's good, but I mean good intent. But if you look at how the media started making us more and more afraid, red alert. I remember at the time, everyone was even scared to talk about anything because people were being arrested for anti-government conversations and stuff in gyms. We heard a lot of stories about that. But I remember at the time a comedian coming on and just was speaking out. And of course, we don't want anybody bombed, killed. I don't want that to ever happen on U.S. soil, but I don't want it to happen on Iraqi soil, and I don't want it to happen on Afghani soil. I don't want that kind of thing to happen anywhere.
Right.
It's not like one place is good and one place is bad. I don't want it at all. But one comedian came on and said, every day the news would say, we're on red alert, we're on orange alert. And he goes, after a while, what are they going to do? Say we're on purple alert and get us so hyped up that we explode? Like, what's going to happen after that? There's going to come a point where we go, who cares? But honestly, fear sells. And it has been one of the biggest money makers ever. It's in the war industry, it's in the pharmaceuticals, it's in body care, where women are driven to destroy and turn into monsters through plastic surgery because we're not allowed to age. We're not allowed to become crones or elders. And our wisdom is not valuable, but if you have a wrinkle, you better cut your face up to try to get rid of it. We sell fear. Women are afraid to grow old. Men are afraid to not have young women, and they need to get rid of their older women. It is terror and it is fear. And when someone makes you afraid, like limited offer, last day only, those kinds of words, it's
always
a manipulation to make you afraid and to make you feel like you have to run and grasp whatever that is. And I made a rule with myself, if anybody calls me or if anything says last minute, well, maybe I've fallen for that one lately, I better pay attention, that I won't do it. I'll just say no. Even if I really would like to buy that, I wait and buy it later because I know I'm doing it through unconsciousness.
Well, all manipulations are lies. So if they say there is one left, you know there's 1,000. You know, and it's easy to figure out once you're looking for being manipulated. So inherent in the very language we speak is manipulation. And the number of times we have said, pay attention, the word should is guilt manipulation. If you say you should do it and you don't, you're wrong. And if you're wrong, you're guilty. And if you're guilty, you're asleep. And if you're asleep, you can be manipulated. And you cannot say no. Yeah? You should do that. No. Wait, I said you should do it. Nope. You know, and it just bounces off. And no is an extremely powerful anti-manipulation device. And you had a very interesting thing to say about yes and no, you know, as being the gas pedal and
the gas and the brake. And actually no is the steering, because if you are going at 90 miles an hour, if you go this way and slow down, if you say no to that 90 miles an hour, that's the rudder, that's what steers everything. And you have to have both. And the yes is nothing without a no. It's nothing but a bunch of drivel. Unless you have a no. And the thing is love says yes and love says no. Love doesn't only say yes. We had someone on the show a while back whom I respect very much, but the belief system of that particular belief system was that they don't say no to anything. Everything is a yes. And at the time I was bringing up the idea that if we don't have a no, a yes means nothing, and that no's have to be in existence. Otherwise, if you're not saying no to turning right, you're saying yes to turning right, you're never going to turn left. You're never going to make a different choice. And no's are necessary because we are here as separate individuals to experience being a separate individual. And a no is often the very best thing for the other person, not a yes. You don't say yes to your child that wants to play with a scalpel. That saying no to a child is a good thing. saying no to a doctor, a surgeon who's going to save someone's life is not the best optimum choice, but saying yes to him is. It's not always the only blanket statement that there is that there are no blanket statements.
I get this, yeah. I think sometimes saying no to a doctor with a scalpel is a very, very good idea. But I'm not defeating your point. I just want to add to it. And to go on to say that to free yourself from manipulation would be to free yourself from guilt.
Yeah,
and that's not real likely to happen considering the amount of guilt manipulation that goes on constantly. You come into the party? Well, no. Why not? Well, if I'd wanted you to know, I would have told you. You know, stuff like this. It's okay to be in opposition to being manipulated. It really is.
Well, that's good, and I think everybody has to do it according to their own style. I think that there is a way to be truthful without being hurtful. Henry Winkler says, "I do not mind your honesty as long as it's delivered with kindness." And the carrier wave of love and kindness, it really doesn't matter what you say. Also, likewise, a carrier wave of pain and anger from old unresolved emotional issues, you could say the nicest words in the world and they're going to cut people. It's just like if you're talking to a dog and you say, I hate you, you silly dog. The dog's going to feel the carrier wave. And likewise, you could say very hateful things with a softer voice and a loving heart. People really go by what is emanating from people more than we know. I've talked about that in years past. But our words, which you are the master of your books and everything, your words really do reveal what is that carrier wave. Because we may think we know what the carrier wave is. I want the $1 million, but the words will reveal what the real carrier wave is that your stuff is on. And so you can use your words to understand yourself, and by changing the words, it forces us to change ourselves. So speaking of which, your in language codes books and hidden language codes talk a lot about how language manipulates us, like the word try and various things, but there are a lot of languages that are manipulative. If you go into the store and you see real, genuine chocolate flavor, now, real, genuine chocolate, and then they stick the flavor on there, it's a matter of semantics. And if you go check how they can term food ingredients, like processed cheese food, what does that mean, cheese food?
It means
as opposed
nothing.
to cheese
cardboard.
Or cheese hubcaps, or what would that be?
They're pretty cheesy, those hubcaps.
If you really watch, people use words to manipulate.
And we have our caller. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Hi, this is Edith.
Edith,
Hey,
hi.
Edith.
How are we doing?
Good. I just wanted to make a comment. Usually when I see manipulation in the workplace, it isn't so much about guilt as it is about power and control. I'll see people manipulate, and they do it, just for I think they get off on just being able to control what other people think or what other people feel, being able to turn one person against another.
That's a big one. Thank you for that. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think that ultimately, underneath everything, people use that power, like what they're getting from that power. Oops.
Edith, thank you.
I'm sure she's still there. Thank you. What they're getting from that power is this promised land of I don't have to fear because I'm on top. No one can abandon me. No one can harm me. But there are people that just do this for power, and ultimately everybody's looking for power so that they feel safe.
Well, a particular, yes.
Amongst other things.
Yeah, a particular facet of that is if someone's telling you what to do, then you have no responsibility in it. And therefore you can execute the prisoner, you can, do all these things. because you have no authority. You're just obeying something without any thought involved. And if you think in that sense, you actually take responsibility for yourself and where your life is going to go and what you're going to do is the unknown basically on this planet at this time, certainly in this country. If you are saying, we've said for so many years, if we all just suddenly just did not cooperate, we just don't. We turn whatever land we have anywhere near us into our personal garden, and we just grow our own food. I know winter's coming on, but still, if we just take back our life, oh no, and the amount of a stranglehold money has on us on this planet, there is virtually no one who has set themselves free from that, no matter what you do. And then if you see someone suddenly inherit a bunch of, they lose their mind. We've seen this happen. They're not this, it's the poorest people who are the most generous, and the wealthiest are the least generous.
Well, there's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, I raised my children waiting tables in a lower kind of economic bracket restaurant. And I remember some of the poorest people, where you could tell they did not have a lot, were much kinder and more generous in the ratio to people that had a lot. And I've also met people that have a lot that are extremely generous. And but I think as a rule, sometimes people's relationship with money is often their relationship with love, and they're afraid of losing it. And so a lot of people that come into money that have had nothing for a long time and they get money, there are some patterns that seem to happen where it might just all be spent, or they become very fearful and spend nothing. And it does do something to you. But that's another thing, is the money manipulation. And I think what Edith was bringing up is such a valuable point about power, because after a time, if you've watched that show House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, has anybody seen that? There's a British version. It really shows you behind the scenes in Washington politics and England as well, that it's really about power, because politicians, although are not poor, they're not really in it for the $300,000 that a president earns, or $400,000, which, come on, you can have an actress that makes that in one day. I think our president deserves to make a whole heck of a lot more than an actress, if you ask me. It's a hard job. But at any rate, they're not really in it for the money, they're in it for the power. And money represents power. Whatever you feel you lacked in your childhood then becomes what represents power. If you could never get girls in high school, getting a lot of girls represents power. If you had no money as a child, money represents power. If you get people to do what you want and you had a childhood of powerlessness, then that's what getting people to do represents.
If you had no impulse control, doing whatever you want, looks like power. Yeah. It's a very interesting planet. Check, please. Thank you.
Well, speaking of, check, please.
Yeah.
We have an announcement.
Certainly.
Okay, and this isn't an easy announcement, but our last live show is going to be the 15th of October, although we were still going to air from our abundant archives, and we will be doing new shows that are not live and airing those as well. It's been a great road. We're almost 16 years of a weekly show, and we want to thank all of our volunteers and everything. But we won't be live next week, but on the 15th of October 2015, we will be, and if you would like to join us in the studio for that auspicious occasion, you can email me and Neville at telepathictv@yahoo.com. And it's very sad, but sometimes you need to it's best to move on. And we are still working on projects, and you will see us. I mean, we'll still be airing just like normal every Wednesday. It just won't be live.
Thursday.
Did I say Wednesday?
Yeah, it's all right.
darn, I don't know why I keep getting stuck on Wednesday like that.
No. It's
But-
very likely that we'll be doing something on
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And we are working on bringing a new show idea where we are going to teach things on another level.
Yes.
And we're going to develop our YouTube channel and do YouTubes, and we'll still maybe doing live shows from home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we're going away entirely. It's just 16 years, almost 800
Yes.
shows of this. It's
This caliber. It's been well over that actually with other studios, other events we've done.
that's true. We did
yeah.
200 in Arlington as well.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely
your
a-
multidimensional
oh,
psychic shows.
yeah, if we count all that too, that's
Since
going
1994.
on 1,500 broadcasts in one way or another. But and it is the beginning of the
Yeah, it's a birth of new things.
yeah, and therefore the original form is giving up its
And the beauty is we have hundreds of shows posted in the archives, and we're still going to do shows, and we're hoping that our crew will still stick with us, and we hope people don't disband and will come and do some canned shows for us, and maybe some field shoots. And you can still email Telepathic TV at yahoo.com, and our website has lots of things there, and we will still answer questions. So if you have questions you want answered on the show,
yeah, that's a very good idea.
But
Emailing
please follow our
questions.
website because we've got a lot of new things coming.
And of all the things I've ever heard about this concept, I would say that Johnny Carson said it better than anyone I've ever heard. And in his last show, everybody, I think, from this time slot watched Carson's last show. You kind of had to. Yeah.
Of course, everybody watched that.
And with tears in his eyes, he stood up and said, well, you know, I'd rather be asked why I quit than why I didn't quit.
Yep. And as
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld says, you got to go out on a high note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've had,
It's been a long time, and it's been a big portion of our life.
yes,
I've devoted 40
tirelessly.
unpaid hours to 70,
Tirelessly.
80 unpaid hours every week working on things on behalf of humanity, and I know you have worked a lot. And our wonderful
much as you.
volunteers
Yeah.
have come in here, rain, sleet, snow, or hail, always, so that they could bring you the show, and you can't ask for more than that.
And we've been highly consistent throughout all this time. And we have a caller. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Hey guys, this is Lisa. How are you?
Oh,
Hey.
good. How about you?
How are you?
Well, I got to say I'm very disappointed to hear about you guys going off the air, and I just wanted to tell you how helpful I think your shows are. I've watched, I think, every one of the archived shows that you've had, and each one that you do, I know that sometimes you say that, like, you know, you repeat things from other shows, but you know how when people are in different stages of growth and maybe you hear something now that you may have heard it 20 other times, but it didn't really click,
Yes.
and then you hear it. So I think that's what your shows are like, is that even though we hear things from, you know, in past shows, there's always something that clicks in these in the more recent shows. So I think your shows have been so valuable, and I am glad to hear that you'll still be doing either something on TV, whether it's classes or things from your home. So, but I just want y'all to know how great I think your show is and how great you guys are.
Oh, you
Yeah.
too. You too. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
We
Lisa-
love you. And
Lisa,
We love you
thank
too.
you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, that's
Greatly
great.
appreciated.
Yeah, very much. And you know, it is very much like when you're in the studio, it's so wonderful to hear people call in, because sometimes you just don't know if anybody's even hearing. I mean, I know a few
Well,
people here and there have
You
mentioned.
got us on the web years and years and
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah, and that I'm going to spend some of my time because it does take some energy uploading shows and converting shows and all that, as anybody that's around here knows. I'm going to spend some time cleaning up the links to some of the shows, taking down some things, putting up other things, new things. Maybe I will convert some of our shows from early on when we were mere youngsters and put
Oh
those
God,
up.
we were kids.
I was a young chick of early 40s, I think, at the time when I first started being on TV. I looked like a youngster compared to now.
Oh, you're still.
Yeah, but, well, we will have our last show that's live in this form. You're not getting rid of us that easy. You can still tune in every Thursday and Friday morning and Saturday night to watch a show. We're going to be airing ones you probably have never seen and ones from the past. So we've got a lot of stuff to turn in and to be watching. And we're going to still produce things and air those as well. And we're still here, so you can still reach us through the same back channels. But anyway, we have really been, if you can come down on the 15th, just email me. We'll put a bunch of chairs here, just like when we had our 700th show. And just have a big old party and do some reminiscing.
Yeah.
But we have been devoted to help people to get out of fear. What we've said is about practical, real life, getting out of the manipulation of life and get back to the truth of who you are.
And we are quite dedicated to the advance of our race.
Yep. We are persistent, old folks. No, it takes a lot of perseverance to stay and with a topic, and same with our crew that's been with us almost from the beginning.
Oh, from the beginning.
Yeah. So this is show number 762.
Yeah.
Well, I say onward and upward because there's lots more to do, and I think other formats and everything we produce will still show on this show too. So you're not really going to miss anything except the ability to call in.
And we're all over YouTube, and we'll put numbers so you could actually call, at a decent time as opposed to the middle of the night.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, because it's very important, the work we do. And we are the grandparents.
I am a grandma.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But it's a happy thing because it's a birth. It's a birth. And I
it's
know
the beginning of the
I'm
new.
probably going to get whatever later. Just because change is our greatest enemy, but it's also our best friend. And what that means is change is always the good thing that carries us forward. And it's time for new things. And honestly, I think there's going to be so much that we can do. We're going to give teaching videos on YouTube on how to do things. And it's a good use of time.
Yeah. And crystals, information on crystals, 100,000 topics.
We're going to be throwing lots of info at you guys.
Absolutely. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Yes, this is Lynn.
Lynn, hi. Speak up just a bit, would you please?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, they're adjusting the sound. Lynn, what can we do for you?
I just wanted to say I'm sorry to hear the news. I'm also sorry as the other caller, and but thank you for all of the shows. And I happened upon your show several years ago, and it was a very difficult time in my life. I had lost a loved one, and your show had helped me a lot. And I just wanted to thank you for all that you've done for everyone. So thank you, and good luck in the next phase of your lives.
Thank you, and we hope you join us on the new formats and the new things in the future. Thank you, Lynn. That was very sweet.
I'll be watching. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're not actually that going away. Just it's
just the
changing,
live aspect to it. And I really have some ideas for some future live shows too. And if you get on the mailing list on telepathictv.com, they have them on every page. you can just join the mailing list. And I honestly, I have that mailing list, but I've sent out maybe one email in 2 years. I don't abuse it like some things where you're getting an email every day. But if you would like to sign up for that, it doesn't get sold to anybody. I don't share it with anybody. I can't even really access them easily myself because it's a service where everything's hidden in there, buried in there. Then you'll know when we do live shows, and it would be great. You could still call in and talk to us and everything.
Yeah, we could have an audience.
And I might even do a little reading show and stuff like that.
Definitely.
It'd be great.
Definitely brilliant things, for the future. And a lot more to go.
You know, we are on the topic of manipulation, and there are a lot of things that out of love I've always wanted to share with people, but one is, often people find our show and they see that I'm doing readings and that you do readings of different sorts, and sometimes people's first reaction is, they're going to tell me, you know, these scary things, and I think I've demonstrated over the years that readings are designed to be inspirational, but also to give you insight of how to change it. On my website, I put, it's not about knowing your future, it's about creating it. And the best way to create it is know the direction it's blowing in so you can make new decisions. And that's how you use these cards. But I have felt called to call a lighter energy to that, and now much of the world is bringing a lighter energy. It's not just me, but when I started, I was one of the only ones that were really, you know, some of the early pioneers. There are many of them, but there are people that use divination tools for manipulation to get money from someone, and readers are allowed to make a living just like anyone else. It's an art, it's a gift, and it's time spent, and it's really hard work. It may not be physically hard, but there are people that have manipulated people at large sums of money, and I'm not here to confront or to attack. But what I am saying is, if you are feeling uncomfortable, if you are feeling bad, if someone appears to have power over you and then wants you to pay them to undo that, then just know you're being manipulated. Start setting up flags that tell you you're being manipulated and step away from it. There are lots of manipulations that people have. Another one is, oh gosh, I had so many in my mind. There's sometimes when there's too many, it's hard to pick. But where they make you afraid, and then they keep selling you upgrades. Well, this one's better.
Oh, you mean?
And then they say, even though I just said this is the best product in town, I'm trying to sell you a service contract on it. Well, that's a manipulation. If this is the best TV, why do I have to buy a service policy that will extend it for 2 years if it's the best TV?
No, it's enough of this, the planned obsolescence and everything. Your phone is going to last, your phone won't outlast the contract at this point. You know, or they'll upgrade it right in the middle and then nothing works on your phone. You know, because there's all this, it's just manipulation everywhere, and it's all this slavery. It is. People are captured and taken. And it's time for the sacred and holy duck. There we go.
Yay.
All right.
Okay. What have you been putting off? Don't ruminate any longer. It is time to take action.
Okay, just 1 second. I still got to get used to these. Time is ripe for taking the next step.
Both of us.
Promotions.
I'm telling you, even though this is a very good thing, it's hard not to cry.
I know, it really is. Promotions, elevations, and soaring to the newest heights. Upward bound. Amazing.
Upward bound, Ducky.
Thank you very much. There we go. That was excellent.
Yes. Thank you.
God, this is amazing.
Yes,
No,
but just think how
time.
fun the 15th is going to be. You have to tune in. We're going to have a party.
All right, come down.
Calm down. We'll just put a bunch of chairs around. We'll have some door prizes, just like before. It'll be a fun time to be had by all.
Yeah. And we're not going away, and we're endlessly
We're not
in
going away either. Just
Yeah.
know, you can still tune in every Thursday. You're going to see us, and you're going to still see. And Lisa, that was so nice of you to say, because I found that on my spiritual path. You hear things, just like the old Bugs Bunny cartoons, there would be a layer that kids find funny, a layer that adults find funny. Well, spiritual concepts are just as much of an onion as the human spirit is an onion, and you can hear them, and each time you get something new out of it. And I believe we've said on the past, or you have said, that it's never full circle, it's always a spiral look at, and when you come around, you're always in a higher orientation point. And I feel that sometimes we forget that, and we relate to it as if we're in a circle, but we're in a spiral.
No such thing as back to square one. There is no such thing.
I agree.
It's
I
the
agree
myth
with
in
that.
the language that keeps you just asleep.
Brilliant.
Hi caller, what's your name, please? Hello?
Hi, Jessica.
Hi, Jessica.
Jessica, what can we do for you?
Well, thanks. I am so glad that I am watching the show today because, of course, your announcement is huge. You two have been a treasure to everyone who gets to watch you. Your wisdom and your insight. And I do agree that you're going to be going on to better things and or just a different medium. And so I know it seems scary that there's going to be change, but we're so happy that we're still going to be able to interact with you in some way.
Oh, well, thank you. That's so kind. Thank you. Very well said,
very,
too.
very sweet.
Beautiful.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, and every time that I call in too, it's funny because we connect in a certain way because I was actually going to call in today to talk about I lost my job and I'm trying to do a new venture too, and I was scared. But just listening to your show and thinking about how now is the time to do stuff. I was calling in for a reading, of course, but I thought it would kind of parallel, your movement on and my movement on, hopefully to bigger and better things.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you. And you're right. That's one of the things over the years we've noticed is whatever night you tune in and whatever, it's like everybody that's watching is so connected and perhaps having a similar type of an experience or a topic that might be synchronous for the night they tune in. Well, the first card is the card of experiencing, and really that's what we're here to do, experience, and some of that involves measurement, but we've gotten out of the experience and into the measurement, and we're really unhappy when we get there. It's not like it's a bad thing, but it does make us unhappy. But one of the things I feel that's telling you is this is a time for you to experience your life and to experience your body, because it tells you what makes you larger and what makes you smaller. And what makes you larger is calling you, and that there is great guidance going on. And I would say you have outgrown something, and it's time for meditative reflection, because your guides are making you aware of some really important things that may be showing up. And I keep seeing like phone numbers, a business card, a chance meeting, that kind of thing, that keep your eyes open. And it may take longer than you think or that you're wanting, but not too long. And there's some synchronization, and strangely I see a man with thinning hair that, oh gosh, maybe I was just seeing him, but I was seeing a man with thinning hair that may be significant, that could help you as a mentor or a networking thing. Now this card, the Dark Night of the Soul, is where we go in and we pull out the depths of ourselves and who we really are, and we have to clear out our sorrow, or we're blinded by our thoughts. And so you have been through a lot, and this is the time that you're doing a deep inner work that's going to take you to better places. And the chakra affirmation
crown
card.
chakra, I'm always in the right place. My timing is always perfect. And that is the way that works.
Yeah. Oh, that was
Even
that
though
synchronization.
it doesn't seem like it, yeah.
I love how you pull the cards that are just so complementary to the message, too.
You built the deck.
Well, I may have built the deck, but you pulled the cards. No more?
Yeah. I had someone talk to me about retirement, wanted counseling on retirement, and I was saying, well, it's the unknown, and you're afraid of the unknown. And you don't have to be. And then I pointed out to Thomas Jefferson. We went to Monticello to see cello, to see his estate, and
I love Thomas Jefferson.
yeah, and it was when he retired that he finally did thousands of things. It was only after he retired that he was allowed to be who he was. Prior to that, he was very safe in being told what to do, even as the president.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of liberation. I really do feel connected, especially going there and seeing Monticello. I do feel like he's the successful, connected male me.
Yeah,
I just feel like there's such a similarity in our philosophies and the multi-interests and things like that. But there are so many things to do. And
well, it's after retirement that you get to connect to who you are. Prior to retirement, you're playing a role, whatever that role might be. But after, when you don't have to play the role, this is one of the first things you ever taught me, was that it's not about playing a role, it's about deservability. You know, you deserve to be who it is you really are.
You owe the world, you owe yourself, yes, but you owe everyone, you owe the divine, you owe it to be who you are. And when we live in a world of manipulation where it's dangerous to be ourselves, and it's not really, because when someone's authentically themselves, everyone loves them. That's the secret to charisma.
Yeah.
And that is the bottom line there. You know, I think that if you allow yourself to be who you are, deliver your truth as it comes up with kindness, and not hold it back until it's fueled with gunpowder to come firing out like verbal bullets, then everything is better for everyone. We all probably have had friends, but I knew someone one time, there was just no acts, no, oh gosh, I got to present this. I just spoke how I felt, she spoke how she felt. And I could even say, look, that really bothers me when you did that, and I don't have any charge over it. She has no charge. It's easy and simple and graceful. And that's how we could live our life. Forrest Gump, that's always been my model of living the graceful life. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge to love yourself enough to do that. And we're all doing the best we can with it.
Yeah, the simplicity of belief. And that's all it really takes.
Yeah.
That form of grace.
Yeah.
It
That
works
form
very
of
well.
grace of being, and I have always said that true humility is knowing who you are. It's not demeaning yourself and saying I'm nothing, and it's not saying, oh, I'm some fancy schmancy thing. It's saying this is who I am. Could you imagine the freedom if you just put your pant size, your waist size, your weight, how old you are, what's your bank account number, whatever it is, or amount, and you just put it on the table and said, this is who I am, and this is what I have, this is what God gave me, this is the body, the face. It's not Barbie, it's not any of those.
Or Ken.
It is.
Yeah. So, we'd have to say, loving yourself.
It's freedom.
Yeah. Loving who you are. And then it all works. And we are
Run
taught
along
never to
and
do
be
that.
free.
We're taught never to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, just run along and be free.
Yeah.
What more could one person do for themselves or someone else but to encourage freedom?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
freedom has nothing to do with a door or a lock or a job or a marriage or anything.
Yeah.
Freedom has to do with you allowing yourself to be who you are, because if you can allow that, you're always in paradise then, no matter where you are and no matter what job you're doing.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
And that's the path.
Well, here, why don't you pull a card for the audience? I know we're down to our last few minutes, but remember you can still tune in every Thursday night, and please do join us on the 15th.
For our audience, it's the throat chakra. I take joy in my self-expression, and
Awesome.
it doesn't matter who hears or sees it.
Well, I was pulled to two. One is sacral chakra. I am in the most sacred relationship of all with myself. This brings me closer to others. And the third eye, I see the truth within all things. Now, these are affirmations designed to counteract certain vibrational states in your body. And so it's good to do that.
There you go. That's a brilliant deck, by
But this one, I take joy in my self-expression, and it doesn't matter who sees or hears it. A lot of what I do are products and realizations from my own self-healing, that one in particular. I think anybody that has grown up in a large family, being one of the younger ones, that has never done anything first, you know, you get there.
Everybody's already done it.
Well, anyway, check out the website. You can play with all my cards on the website, and Neville's books are there, and all his beautiful art you can look at. And we've got videos. I've got my meditation break podcasts, lots of stuff. It's all free. Just go.
We're going to be
help
having
thyself.
classes that people can...
And there are posted classes on there, and we'll be having more.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
Looking forward. And I got to
It's our
say,
joy and honor
and we love you.
to take you to the door. Okay. So I'm not sure if the mics are still up, but anyway, we love our crew, and
Yeah.
you guys can't get away from us that easy. We've got things planned
No.
for you.
Yeah, we have a lot more to do, Thomas Jefferson.